We start this Thanksgiving holiday week showing you the numbers here. The tri-state has now crossed 1 million coronavirus cases. The total number of deaths is now approaching 50,000. Now, new restrictions will start Wednesday in the city. Upper Manhattan, take a look, has now turned into a yellow zone. All of Staten Island faces new restrictions. The northern part of the island is yellow. The southern part you see is orange.
Now, going from yellow to orange means more restrictions. The closing of non-essential businesses like gyms and salons, indoor dining also closing. All schools, public and private, go all remote. Both yellow and orange zones have capacity limits on mass gatherings and houses of worship. In the yellow zone, restaurants have to close at 10 p.m., but that's already happening here in the city. From yellow to orange, we have team coverage of the new zones in the city, beginning on Staten Island. News 4's Phil Lipoff is live in South Beach, where a field hospital is being prepared as hospitalizations spike. Phil?
Chuck, you're right, and that hospital is just behind me here on Staten Island. It was so important to fighting the first wave of this virus back in the spring. Tonight, doctors say the second wave is here, and they need the help again.
Hospitals on Staten Island are filling up with COVID patients. The state now reopening this facility to handle the surge.
Viruses go through a spike when they're new to a population, and they kind of go away for a while and they come back in. That's what they do.
Dr. Brahim Adolik says the number of people in his hospital has tripled in the last few weeks, from 23 patients to more than 100.
So you're talking about a fairly significant increase over a fairly short period of time.
Governor Cuomo agreeing to an emergency request to reactivate the field hospital that at the height of the pandemic treated more than 250 patients.
Staten Island has such an issue that it has triggered a hospital capacity issue. And the hospitals have contacted us and they say they need emergency beds on Staten Island.
This is where those beds will be. The building was built to be a long-term psychiatric care facility, but never opened because COVID hit. It was integral in fighting the first wave of the virus. Dr. Adolik doesn't want people to panic, but says red flags are being waved.
You're going to go to Thanksgiving. People are going to get together on Thanksgiving, and there will be more spread of this virus. And after a few weeks after Thanksgiving, we're going to see another spike. And that is concerning because everyone remembers that only a few weeks after Thanksgiving, you do the whole thing again at Christmas.
But he assures the hospital is ready for the surge, and the system here on Staten Island will be able to handle it.
And as doctors get ready to fight this second wave, they'd say this time will be different because over the last several months, aggressive therapeutics have been developed that make treating this virus easier. This hospital behind me is set to open in the next couple of days. We're live on Staten Island. Phil Lipoff, News 4 New York.
Phil, thanks. Well, for the first time, parts of Upper Manhattan will become a yellow zone. So this means new restaurant restrictions, 4 people max per table, and other businesses are being put on notice tonight, too. News 4's Andrew Siff continuing our team coverage from Washington Heights with that, and also, Andrew, the city's plan to reopen schools.
Right. And Natalie, even at this hour, you can see behind me there's a line to get into a testing site here at Highbridge Pool on Amsterdam Avenue. There are hours open till 7 o'clock, and a lot of New Yorkers trying to get themselves COVID tests before the holidays. The desire to see family for Thanksgiving leading to long lines at COVID testing sites.
I have a niece and a nephew who are really young, so we're trying to be really careful.
But the race to get tested also follows a recent spike in cases. Washington Heights, now Manhattan's first neighborhood tagged a yellow zone with a positive testing rate above 3%. And much of Staten Island now orange, with many neighborhoods above 4 or even 5%. The mayor predicts we will soon see a citywide shutdown of non-essential business.
We know we'll be in an orange zone again as early as next week.
But today, for the first time, the mayor said there's a new plan to reopen schools once the orange zone is in effect, with special needs kids returning first, 3K and pre-K children next, then elementary schools.
There's a clear protocol for that. It involves a lot more testing. It's a very conservative, cautious approach.
And Governor Cuomo said as long as rapid COVID testing is ready, the timeline to reopen schools could be swift.
4 days, clean the school, you can test and reopen. You have to test every student on the way back in.
The fear is if indoor gatherings take place over the holidays, the protocols won't be enough.
This is a toxic cocktail of dynamics and facts.
It's like scary to think that everything could come to a stop again, just like before.
And even at this hour, the head of the teachers union, Michael Mulgrew, is addressing some 20,000 teachers on a Zoom call, talking about that phased reopening plan you just heard from the mayor, where the youngest kids go back to school first. No date has been set yet for when that might take place. We're live in Washington Heights. Andrew Siff, News 4 New York.
All right, Andrew, thank you. On Long Island, Hampton Bays and Riverhead in Suffolk County are now yellow zones. Great Neck and Massapequa Park in Nassau County are too. And just like in the city, that means caps on the number of people in houses of worship and at mass gatherings. A maximum of 4 people per table for both indoor and outdoor dining. Schools remain open with testing for those in classrooms.